Have you ever wondered what happens after ever after? Have you always yearned to know if the end is really the end? No? Well, you're gonna find out anyway. We're your hosts, Andy, Tammy, and Gina. This is Two Division.
Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Two Division Disney Sequels Explained. I'm your host, Gina, and as always, I am back again with my two beautiful and amazing co hosts, Andy and Tammy. Hi, guys. How are you?
Oh, it's really excited to be back. I really wanted to record. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Last time we recorded, we were in another decade. So, Happy New Year, I guess.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Welcome to the first Two Division of the decade of 2020. The first Two Division post Rise of Skywalker. So if our Star Wars references start to be more cynical, then we are sorry, but we're not sorry. Yeah. Okay, that disclaimer aside, welcome guys. Today we are talking about. Oh wait, hi guys. I didn't ask you how you were. What you been doing all these months?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot.
We appreciate it.
To put it
doing
like,
a lot. What's it like? It's tiring. I'm feeling like I have to do a lot of stuff that I'm not ready for, but I'm doing it. We're fine. Just faking it till you
yeah, fake it until you make it. That's my motto as well.
Yes.
Oh.
That has been my life for the past 2 weeks, but it's good.
We'll believe in
good.
you, Tammy.
Yeah, it's all gonna be good. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
What about you, Andy?
Oh, it's just, well, we did a thing. We traveled to a place and we did some things since the last time we recorded. So,
yeah, we saw some people, some characters. We visited some
planets,
kingdoms.
Mhm.
We went to Disney World back exactly a month today.
Like a month ago, yeah.
Exactly a month ago, we were at Animal Kingdom. Well, we were actually at Magic Kingdom by this hour 1 month ago. Yeah, we came back from our Disney trip and it was amazing. It was the best trip ever, wasn't it?
Yeah, retweet.
Yeah, and Andy built a lightsaber of $200.
Why do people
They
love
know
saying that?
they know what it costs.
People love saying that. I told my sister one time, and she just kept repeating that to my whole family. So now all of my family knows that I have a $200 lightsaber. Thank you.
For you like Americans, they don't understand like the volume of money that $200 is for us Mexicans. Like that's 20 times as much money. So yeah, $200 may not seem like a lot. Maybe like for what it is, $200 is good, but for us that represents so much more money than $200. So yeah. But it's okay because the lightsaber is amazing and the lightsaber ceremony is beautiful. So I have no regrets about you spending $200 lightsaber.
I have no regrets about you spending money.
I know you don't.
Well, you took nice pictures, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so shall we begin?
Yeah, let's move on to what we're talking about today. Today we are talking about a very special movie. Well, its sequel. We're talking about Brother Bear and its sequel, Brother Bear 2. So, of course, to begin with, we're going to talk about our memories from the original movie. Brother Bear came out in 2003, and to my recalling, it's not the biggest success Disney has ever had. I think it flopped a little bit. So yeah, but I think over time people have started to turn around to it, to coming around to it. So I'm interested to know what you guys think of this movie. Tammy, let's begin with you.
Okay. I love this movie. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite films, mostly because of like its theme, like having to do sibling relationships. Like I'm a sucker for those. And I didn't know that I love this movie until I was on a 10-hour road trip going back. Well, we just finished it, and we came back. We were coming back home. I was with my parents. We were in this giant. We were in this big van, and it was like around 9 p.m. at night. And I was like, everyone was sleeping, and I just decided to watch Brother Bear like all by myself. Put my earphones in, and I was watching it. And by the end of it, I was like sobbing. And then I was crying, like trying not to wake anyone up. I was just crying silently. And then I turn
Aw.
around and I see my cousin staring at me like I'm a crazy person.
Aw,
But
not fair.
I really I just think it has all of my favorite things. It has a really good sibling relationship. It has overcoming a tragic event, and I think they handled it really well. Like a lot of movies that handle death, especially animated, I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I think, but not even animated, just because I keep seeing it in stuff where I feel like when if someone passes away, there's like they try to bring them back or they try to or resurrect them in some way, and I don't know. Maybe and I just like how it deals with moving on and it lets the characters go through their grief in their own different way, and then it ends with Nahi and Kenai moving on but still getting that closure that I felt like it was done really well for a kids film. And I don't know, like the line where Denahi just goes, "And you'll always be my little brother." It's just so good. It makes me
Mm.
cry every time, and I just love how there's no villain in here. There's like the villain is grief. The villain is this tragic event. Like Denahi is is the main obstacle that Kenai faces, but that's just because I'm just realizing there's a misunderstanding, but it's done well.
Yeah, but it's not like the
Conflict
trope.
because of a misunderstanding, but I like it. Like this is how you do it well. This is how you do it well.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm down. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I just really enjoy it. I really love it. Good mature themes and handled very delicately. And hate those moose, no matter what.
You hate them?
No.
I hate it.
Even
Why?
in this one?
Even I'm like, okay, I'll get through your scenes.
Because I
I don't
have
know.
to.
Just so obnoxious. They're just so obnoxious. I don't
I
Okay.
see it.
Oh, okay. Is that everything, Timmy?
know. Yeah.
Okay. Andy?
Yeah. Well, with this movie, I always liked it. I mean, this is. I think this era of movies are the ones that I remember watching on the theater, and I distinctly remember how I watched this one because I remember there was like a lot of hype around it, at least with kids my age. So when I was a kid, we usually didn't go to the movies when the movie was released because my mom doesn't like crowds, or just she used to say that, oh, we can go another day and there's not going to be too many people, because you know before in the movie theater you had to do a line and instead of just like choosing your seats. So yeah, but I remember there was the day, and me and my cousin were just playing at my house, and I just remember my mom coming to my room and she just said, "Hey girls, do you want to go to watch Brother Bear?" And our faces, I mean, I remember that moment in my life very clearly, and I remember it a lot. I don't know why. Just like one of the times that my mom said that we could go to the movies, but I don't know why there was like such pure joy that I didn't know I could do that. Like, oh my god, you can go to a movie when it just premiered. Amazing. So I remember that. And I remember that I don't know why, but a lot of parties of my friends were happening around that time of the year, and they were all at McDonald's. So all the parties at McDonald's had Brother Bear toys, and I
Yeah.
just had like three of them, and it was all from parties. And I remember like all of us in the area of the event at McDonald's just like playing with our Brother Bear toys. And you had the totems, and I think I had
Yeah.
like Coda, and it was like a pad. I think that you could write on it or something like that. And
Yeah, I remember that.
no one wanted that except me, and I love
I
that.
wanted that too.
Oh my god, that's why we're friends.
Yes.
So yeah, and objectively, I think it's a really good movie. And I don't know, those are my memories, but I keep watching it. It's one of the movies that I do remember like every beat of it, just because it was on the TV a lot, maybe. And yeah, I just think like I was watching it, and it's one of the movies that deal with this kind of themes better in all of Disney canon. And I think it's one of the ones that has darker themes and that has characters that have done terrible things. And they had to deal with all these terrible emotions that is regret and guilt and like such awful guilt. And I don't think that we have another one that does that, I don't know, like that deeply or that well. Um, and you just enjoy the characters. For example, Kenai, he could be you could just like hate him because spoiler, he killed Kava's mom, right?
Yeah.
Or because he made the decision. I mean, he was lazy, and that's why his brother died and all that stuff. But you just like feel for him, and
Yeah.
it's so easy. You never see like, oh my god, let's cancel Kenai or something. No, it's just like it's so easy to relate to him. So I think it's really really good. I love this movie. I'm done.
Okay, before I start, just full disclaimer. In Spanish, Kenai is actually pronounced Kenai. So if at one point when I'm talking about him, I mispronounce his name, I'm sorry, because it's just been like how many freaking years of me calling him Kenai. So calling him Kenai is very weird to me. So sorry if that slips my mouth at some point. Oh boy, well, this movie, I don't remember the time prior to this movie. I don't remember any hype about it, but I do remember the very day that I went to see it. I went to see it with my mom and my two cousins. And right after we came out of the movie, I was just amazed. I was completely amazed. I loved the movie so much. And we headed straight to McDonald's after the movie. And of course, the freaking toys were there. And I got Kenai. I think it was Kenai or Sitka's totem. One of those.
I had Chitkas. Yeah.
I had I had all of them. I don't know how
Oh my
many
God.
times I went to McDonald's, but I remember owning at least two totems, but I think I owned the three of them. And I also had the Coda paw that was like a pad that had a lot of like drawings in 3D that you could like, I don't know, put a white paper over it, and if you drew over it, it would just imprint the thing. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but if you had that toy, you know what I'm talking about, and I love that. And I actually had that toy for a very long time. Like I'm sure if I look into the boxes that are somewhere in my house, maybe I'll find it because I remember just that thing very very clearly, and also the totems because I love them. I love that they lit up. I had like the three of them in my room. Like you had to stick the lighting out of the totem and then light it up, and they look like lightsabers,
Oh
but
my
with
God.
an animal hilt, and that looked awesome to me. And also I remember that I had a Coda plush. I have to this day a Coda plush that I don't know where my mom got it, but it's the most beautiful Coda plush. It's like identical to the movie, and I love it so much. And it was my favorite plush for many years. And one time, I think I've talked about this in the podcast before, but there was a fire at my house, and by the time, like the first time that I was able um to get into my house after the fire, and like everything was kind of burnt and there was like it was still pretty fresh, they allowed me to go into my room and grab things that I wanted to take to my aunt's house where we were staying while the house was repaired. And the first thing I brought was my Coda plush. That was the first thing that I grabbed out of the mess that was my house after the fire. So did like that right there just tells you how much I love that character in the movie. And just like long story short, I love this movie, and for many years I even considered it like my favorite Disney movie just because I loved it so much. And it's actually been some number of years since I watched it. I don't know, maybe like 3 years, if not more, like maybe or 5. I like the last time I actively remember watching it was the day before I entered high school, because I was in that time of my life. I like to stay up late, and so that day before I entered high school, I had to wake up very early, and I knew I wasn't gonna be able to sleep. So I said, I'm just gonna spend all the night awake. I'm gonna spend the night awake just because I know I'm not gonna be able to get my sleeping schedule on check today. So I'm just gonna watch some movies. What can I watch? Okay, I'm just gonna watch Brother Bear because it's been a while since I watched it, and I just fell in love with it again. The soundtrack is beautiful. I think I know absolutely every single lyric in the soundtrack. The animation is gorgeous. I was just watching it last night, and like the first scene, the Great Spirits scene, like I was almost tearing up at that scene because like the landscapes are so beautiful. The song is very powerful to me as well. And like I remember you, Tammy, saying something in the Pocahontas episode about how you were so moved because this movie kind of showcases what it was like before men started building and started like tear down nature to build things. And I think this movie also does that, and I think like even more so. I don't know. Like just seeing all that beautiful nature animated in such a beautiful way. I think it really got me. And yeah, I also agree with you, Andy, that it's a movie that deals with like probably what some of the darkest themes out there, even though it's not like a dark movie. But I mean, probably this is the only Disney movie where the protagonist actually kills someone on purpose, you
Yeah.
know, and like, and you don't dislike him, and he's still the protagonist, and you still root for him. So how the hell did I accomplish that? Like, I hadn't even stopped to think about how much I like Kenai, but I never doubted why I liked Kenai, even though he does awful things. And that's just like great character building. I think like they make you absolutely forget the horrible things that he's done, and you're allowed and encouraged to forgive him, and you don't feel wrong for forgiving him because you know that he has actually grown since the beginning. And so by the time he realizes he killed Coda's mom, you definitely see his heart breaking, and you see the regret dawning in on him. That scene, like watching it last night, it gave me like anxiety, just like when he gets the flashbacks and Coda just keeps talking, you know, like in his childish way, and he's just like the darkest thing, the darkest shadow is falling over Kenai, and everyone is like, are you okay, are you okay, and he just has to run away. That just extreme anxiety. And then the scene right after where Coda shows up and Kenai sits him down and he starts telling him the story, and then you don't hear what he's saying because the song No Way Out starts playing, and you just see him like emoting to him and explaining, and you see the change in Coda's face. And then just the way that like that shot of Kenai just turning to Coda and telling him your mother is not coming back, that's heartbreaking, just heartbreaking. I was in instant tears in that moment. I was like, no. And I don't know, if I had one grudge with the movie, I think right after this scene, the movie starts moving too fast. I think it doesn't really get a chance to breathe the revelation in, and I think maybe that could have been handled a little bit better. But up until this point, the movie had a great pace, in my opinion. And then after this reveal, of course, because it's such a dark and deep reveal, they had to like, okay, let's move it along so this doesn't sit too much and we get too dramatic. But that also made it like it takes something from the reveal, because I just feel like Coda forgives Kenai too easily. But I can forgive that because I actually do really like the ending. I like that Kenai makes the decision to turn into a bear permanently as a penance, but also because he wants to take care of Koda to make up for his mistakes. And I think it's a very satisfactory ending. I love the characters. I love Sitka. I love Denahi. I love Koda, of course. I even like the Moose. I'm sorry. I just think they're funny. And I didn't realize that they were supposed to be like they to have Canadian accents, because I've never actually watched the movie in English.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just don't realize how much I've seen a movie until I watch it years later, and I still can quote it, and I can. And just by experience, just by last night, I'm gonna tell you, I can freaking quote this movie in Spanish. I've never seen it in English, and yeah, it's very fun. Like, it's weird because you start watching a movie and then the words start coming out of your mouth, like when you listen to an old song you haven't heard in a while, but you still know all the lyrics. That's what I felt. And yeah, sorry, I've just been rambling, but I really love this movie. I am one of those that will defend it to hell and back. I know people out there don't like it, because if they did, the movie wouldn't have flopped, and we would have more Brother Bear representation, like in the parks and merch and something that's severely lacking in my life.
Oh.
But I really like it. It's not my favorite Disney movie of all time anymore, but it is in the top 10 at the very least. So yeah, that's it. I finished talking finally. So with that said, I think we all agree that we like this movie. Like, okay. So now let's get to talk about what we're actually here. That's Brother Bear 2. It came out in 2006, and oh, also I didn't know that Joaquin Phoenix is the voice of Kenai, apparently.
I just knew that yesterday.
And you know
What?
who voices him, like in the sequel?
Patrick
Yeah.
Dempsey.
Patrick Dempsey. Like, what?
Mhm.
What?
You guys don't watch the English versions, right?
I mean, I
That's
do.
why.
We do, but I just, like, for some reason, this one,
Oh,
Brother Bear,
okay.
I've never watched in English. I just really like the dubbing too much. I think the dub is amazing. Coda
It's
has
one of
the
the
most
best, I would
adorable
say.
voice. Yeah.
It's one of the best. No, but yeah, like I was really. I think I watched it in English actually, like the first time, like the original, and I don't know Phoenix's voice. I don't care, so I didn't recognize him until I just read the IMDb. But why? Just
Yeah, I don't
why?
know. Like, it feels weird to me to know that.
Why? Why?
I'm just now expecting him to start laughing maniacally out of nowhere.
Uh, don't.
And like,
still
I love like, I'll give this credit to the movie, to Brother Bear 2. It has some actually interesting tidbits in the trivia segment on IMDb. But I love this part because it just says, for unknown reasons, Joaquin Phoenix, who had voiced Kina in Brother Bear, did not reprise his role for this film. I just love that, for unknown
For
reasons.
no reasons.
Like, okay, then this piece of trivia just, it's not, doesn't say anything to me. I realized Joaquin Phoenix was not his voice. Okay, thank you. And yeah, so let's talk about Brother Bear 2. Do you guys have any memories of it? What do you think of it? Have you ever watched it? What do you think about it when you first watched it? Let me hear you, Tammy.
Um, being a kid, I remember watching this. I don't remember loving. I'm just sorry. I just have no words. It's just it's so bad, but that's not where we're at right now. But what? That's not where we're at right now. When I was a kid, I was just like, it's okay. This is fine. It's a movie, and I'm pretty sure I watched it more than one time, and I'm pretty sure I enjoyed. I was dumb. Yeah, I don't have very strong memories of this film.
Okay. Andy?
I think I
That's
watched
it. Yeah,
it.
that's it. I literally have no memories of this film, but I do remember watching it more than once and enjoying it.
Okay. Okay.
That's about it. That is not the case now.
Thanks for clarifying.
What?
Thanks for clarifying that you don't like
Yeah.
it anymore. Oh, Andy?
I think I did watch it a lot of times. Not a lot, but maybe it was on the TV, and when it was on the TV, I always watched it. Um, I have the memory of having watched it. That's it, I guess. I remember that I didn't think too much of it, but I thought, oh, the animation is not bad, so therefore it's not bad. I was wrong. And then that I
Mm.
met you and you told me that you hated it, and I was like, people can hate this movie, I guess. And now I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank
You,
you.
yeah. How about you?
Well, God. I remember, okay, so there was this movie place that I went to, like where you go to rent movies, where we went to rent movies, like physical movies. And I remember like hearing about this movie coming out and not being excited at all. I thought like, I'm not sold on this thing with the girl. I don't know. And I remember just whenever I went to the movie renting place, I saw it like in the children's section, and I always walked past it, and I'm like, no, not today,
Not
Satan,
today,
not
Satan.
today. But
No.
then one day I'm like,
Oh.
okay, I'm gonna watch it. It's very rare. It's one of my favorites. I just have to see what they did. So I rented it, and I completely hate it. I cannot express with words how much this movie made me feel like anger at such a young age, because I was probably like 11 at this point, and I think this is the first movie I watched, and I was like, yeah, this movie sucks. At least the first animated movie that I was like, yeah, I this is not a good movie at all. And I don't remember like the specifics, because watching it for the podcast, I realized I don't remember a lot of it, but I do remember the emotions of hating it, and like I hating the ending, feeling like wait, she turns into a bear for him, and it just didn't make sense in my 11-year-old brain. And I hated the thing with the mooses and the moose sets, as they call them. And that's the main thing that I remembered from this movie, like the moose trying to get girlfriends. And I thought I was so freaking boring, and I really felt offended as a fan of the original one that this movie was so bad. So I pledged to myself that I would never watch it again. And so I did until yesterday, where I had to watch it for the podcast. So I only ever watched it once. And whenever somebody asked, what's the worst Disney sequel, Brother Bear 2 was always my first option. I was like, yeah, Brother Bear 2, that's the worst. And even though before,
Spoiler.
yeah,
Sorry, spoiler. Has that changed since we started this podcast?
yeah, I don't think it's the worst. I think it does have. It, well, we're gonna get into that later, but I don't think it's the worst anymore, because we've seen some shit, um, some shit that I hadn't seen before I watched this movie. So yeah, it's not the actual worst, but emotionally for me, I think it's the one that I would never want to watch again. And that's it. That's about my feelings about Brother Bear in a nutshell. Brother Bear 2, sorry. So let's just get right into it, and let's do some recap of what happens in this movie. So this movie, of course, again, is about Kenai and Koda, and the movie starts with a cute montage of them just having fun, being brothers, living life. And then you cut to, well, Koda and well, the thing is, sorry, I'm just all over the place here. The movie starts very, very subtly showing you a bunch of couples, like a
Mm.
couple of I don't know, mammoths, a couple of mooses, a couple of these animals here and these animals there. It reminded me of that scene in Lion King 2, where Kiara is looking for Kobu all over the place, and she just keeps bumping into couples, and
Yeah.
you're like, damn, way to hit her when she's down. And yeah, so that's that scene in this movie, and immediately you're like, I wonder what this movie is gonna be about. And so Kenai at night, they're sleeping, of course, and he gets a dream that's also a flashback about when he was a kid and his childhood friend called Nita, and she was a girl who one day she fell into the ice and she was almost about to drown, and Kenai saved her, and he gave her a pendant to mark their bond, and they swore to always be friends. They draw a little drawing in a cavern of them holding hands, and then Nita leaves, and we get to understand that they never see each other again. It was like, is that what it is? Like they never saw each other again after that, right?
Yeah, because Kenai says, well, Koda asks him what happened with her, and Kenai just says, well, she grew up, so maybe she went to live in another village. I don't know.
It's
Yeah, the movie
not
doesn't actually
explained well
explain
because
that.
it's
Yeah,
not
the
written
movie doesn't.
well.
The movie doesn't really actually explain like why they stopped seeing each other after that. Like, I don't know. But then we cut to where Nira is now, and she is, I guess, the daughter of the chief, and she's about to be married, an arranged marriage, of course, and she's getting ready for the ceremony. And so there's these two ants that help her get ready, and they're always fighting. They don't know what like. They don't know what's best for Nira. So one of them says something, and the other says something else, and Nira's just like done with it, and she just wears something that belonged to her mom. And this is the point of the movie where you realize that this movie is just Pocahontas. I mean, oh well, Nira's plot is a lot like Pocahontas, at least.
You're so right. Why?
Like they even have that scene of, oh, you're wearing something from your mother's, you look beautiful. Yeah, I miss her. Yeah, but she's always in your heart. That's Pocahontas.
Why didn't I notice that? You know what I noticed? I noticed that the two aunts that are dressing her up, I remember that they were always bickering, and I thought that was from Mulan. So when I watched Mulan, I thought that they were going to start bickering, but there was none. So I was like, okay, so I misremembered that. But then I watched this, and I realized it was from this movie. So yeah. So those two movies, this movie is plagiarizing.
Yeah, it's so like it also gave me Mulan vibes, especially when they're trying to get her hair done. And
That
like,
was
yeah,
Mulan.
that's very Mulan. And
Mhm.
also, Nita's voice is given by Mandy Moore, who later went on to better things and voiced Rapunzel.
So that's
And
three.
yeah, so that's like exactly. I was watching this movie and I'm like, okay, I'm getting three princesses feelings like in this one scene. What's going on? And like whenever Nita spoke, I just heard Rapunzel, and I could not get my brain to connect Nita and Mandy Moore's voice together. Like, so she always sounded like she was being dubbed. Like she didn't sound natural to me because they're like, that's Rapunzel. And like, fun fact, in Spanish, her voice is given by the actress that plays Anna, so that's another princess.
Oh my god! And Giselle, that's
And
five
Giselle.
princesses.
Oh no. And
no,
yeah.
and sorry, and the actress was also Rapunzel on Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
And in the series, I think
Okay.
she is the one in the series as well. Sorry, off topic. Yeah.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. So Nita is up to be married with a prince, I guess, named Atka. I think that's his name. And but then when they're about to get married, the earth cracks open, and Nita finds out that because of the pendant that Kenai gave her when they were children, they're bonded. So the spirits are not gonna allow her to marry anyone else other than Kenai because of that bond that they created with the pendant. So what Nita has to do is go find Kenai and go together to this falls where he gave the pendant to her, burn it, and then that will break the bond, the spiritual bond, I guess. So that's what that's Nita's mission in this movie, to go find Kenai, that whom she knows became a bear. So that's like fun to me, to be honest, that the story of the guy who turned to a bear is just like so famous. And like I imagine Nita just finding out about that, like her childhood friend became a bear, and you're like, what? Like imagine someone came to you and they told you that your childhood friend became a bear voluntarily. You'd be like, what the fuck is going on in that
So
guy's
he became
life?
a furry. Okay.
Yeah, that would be the first thing that comes into your mind. Yeah. So she goes to find Kenai. The spirits give her the power of speaking animal. So that's how they explain that she can speak to him. So she finds him very easily. easily, I have to say, to be honest. And she convinces him to take her to the falls to burn the pendant, and off they go on an adventure to get that done. And to be honest, I don't think there's too much other than that happening in the movie. Like at some points they turn back to the moose, and
Yeah.
the whole thing with the moose in this movie is that they're trying to get girlfriends, and that's all. And like Andy even mentioned this in the group chat, like the Musettes look exactly like them, like their colors even, they're just like them but female, like with eyelashes and without antlers. That's it.
Okay.
And that's so that's
That
you
is
know
so. That is so. Uh, I hate that. I hate
I
that
know.
so much.
I know. So basically, that's the whole thing in the movie. Like they're off walking, off finding new places to go to get to the falls, and then just turning back to the moose where they're trying to find girlfriends. And you're like, why am I watching this? Why am I watching the moose trying to get girlfriends? It's awful. And along the way, of course, they start hitting it up because uh, they didn't really get along when they found each other again. They started bickering a lot, but of course, as they are getting to the falls, they become closer, and we even get this music montage of them just bonding and Coda being left behind, and you're like, oh, okay, so it's this trope, okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Hmm.
And of course, Nira is afraid of the water because of the incident that she had where she fell through the ice. And she's too afraid of the water, and Kenai helps her to get over that fear. So they get to the falls. Nira and Kenai burn the pendant. Um, oh, well, before this, am I getting this wrong? I think before this, there's this moment where Kenai and Nira are talking, and she asks him if he ever wanted to turn back into a human. And he says yes. He's thought about it.
Mhm.
And of course, Coda overhears this, and he's like, I knew it. And he just runs away so dramatically because he thinks that Kenai, sorry, is changing him for Nita. And so I don't know what happens after that.
And they just like, I don't know, Koda just like goes to a glacier or something like that, or like a cave,
Mhm.
and he's like no, and he's being like so unreasonable even for a kid. And I don't know, he just brought trouble to himself because the blood told him to,
Yeah.
and I think they get into trouble.
They get into some trouble. Koda gets stuck in some ice. Koda and Nira both are stuck in some ice. Kenai gets them out. And I think it's after this that they burn the pendant together. And Nira goes back to her village, and she's about to marry the Atka guy. But Koda asks the spirits to turn Kenai back into a human because he thinks that's what he wants. And like, I just remember thinking, since when are the spirits like wishing stars? I don't know.
Yeah.
But so he does that, and when Nira is back in the village, I don't remember why, but Koda heads to the village. Why does he do that?
Mhm.
Because the
To
thing is that
tell
he
Nita.
returns. Maybe I think he goes to the village, and Kenai
I
has
don't
to run after
remember
him. I don't remember the logic of why Kodak goes to Nira's village, but he
because
goes
there
there.
is none.
Yeah.
All
And
I
people
remember is Kenai saying he's going to the village. They're gonna kill him.
Yeah, I know.
oh,
Stop
why?
Mita
We don't
from
know.
marrying. He wanted to stop Mita from marrying
Ah.
Atka.
Okay.
All
That's
right.
why. There is some
That's
logic.
why.
Okay, so he goes. He is gonna try to stop the wedding, I guess, and Kenai runs after him. So Koda gets into the village. Of course, the villagers are all upon him. They're trying to capture him. I don't know if they're trying to kill him, but then Kenai comes in, and the villagers start like hunting him. So Kenai and Koda have to make their escape, and Nira goes after them to help them. And once they're back together, I think Kenai is like almost about to die for some reason. I just remember him being like on the floor. And how does this happen? Like, this is the moment where Nira transforms.
Yeah,
So
Koda says that he wished for Kenai to be a human, but then they talk and just like Nita's like, well, I don't need this village, and I want to
fuck
be
my
with you, I guess.
responsibilities. Yeah.
Fuck them, and then she just like becomes a bear. I guess it's easier, and her dad is like, okay, whatever. And that's
It
it.
really
That,
is
the dad is so
though.
chill about it. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to become a bear, just become a bear. You do you, girl. Like,
Yeah.
goals, that goals, I guess. So Nira, Koda tells Kinai that he wished for him to go back to human. He says, "No, I can't do that," and Nira says, "Yeah, no, but I can." And this is the
Mhm.
moment where the spirits turn her into a bear, and she looks weird, to be honest.
She looks too
Like,
weird. She doesn't look like a bear. She doesn't look like a bear at all. Like
she
she
looks
looks
like
like someone who was transformed into a bear for sure.
yeah, that's weird. Like she looks like too
She is.
female-y. Like if you see like Koda's mom, she didn't have eyelashes. She was just a bear, you know. But for some reason, when she turns into a bear, like they give her these eyelashes, and she's just like very slim. Like the curves in her body, they're like very weird, like not bear-like. I don't
She
know.
has a waist.
She has a waist. I don't
It's so
what?
weird.
And she's like I don't know. She's very thin. I just for some reason that's the word that comes into my mind. Like she looks thin as fuck, and yeah, her face is just like it's not bear like. It's like when you want to make a
Furry.
bear attractive. I don't know.
Yeah. She looks.
Yeah.
She looks
So
like a furry
the
through
movie.
through her.
Yeah, basically. So to finish the quick recap, so that's the way it ends. Nira becomes a bear, and they have this ceremony at the end where you, I guess, have to understand that they're getting married or something back at Kinai's village, and they live happily ever after. Kinai, his girlfriend, and his little brother. And that's the end. And the moose got their girlfriends in the end through lying, but they got them,
Ah.
and that's what the movie is. That's Brother Two. So let's do this, guys. What are your thoughts on it? Like, just quick, throw them at me. Go ahead. Just let's make it rain on this movie.
Tell me.
Okay, so my overall thoughts on the movie.
Yeah. God.
Okay, it is so bad.
I know,
It
right?
is so bad. Like there's just so many things wrong in this film. Like it just seems like different TV show episodes, but bad
Mm.
TV show episodes. Like it was such low stakes. Like I like Cinderella. Which one is it? 2. I like Cinderella 2. Like those feel like TV show episodes, but at least they're interesting. This is just so boring. And when you go from Brother Bear, where it's basically the same movie, like but worse because you have characters. They're going in a journey through the woods, and then they have to be at like on top of a mountain at a specific time to see lights to do something. And then but it's just so much worse. Like you go from Brother Bear, where literally like the main character's elder brother died, and then our main character killed someone who we
Yeah.
realize like is the mother of someone that he ends up loving. And then in the meantime, who is stricken by grief because he thinks both his brothers are dead, trying to kill a freaking bear. Who not killed his brother, and that is like that is the tone of like their setting of their journey. You just have Nita and Kenai bickering for like an hour, and then I don't even know, and then and then you have these damn moose trying to get laid. I don't understand. I don't. This is such a bad.
That's me.
The first
That's
one,
me.
just so much worse, so much worse. It's just I don't understand how adults made this film. Adult writers, like it's just so bad, and it's just like, how can you go so good with such high stakes? Like you're not interested because there's nothing of importance in there. There's nothing that gets you invested into the film. We're not interested in why they're going on this journey. Like they tried to just with that little flashback, but it's not enough. Like you don't to be interested in what these characters are going through.
Yeah. All of that says.
Wait, I'm just
Breathe.
looking through. I'm just looking through my notes. I'm just looking through my notes.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it's just like I don't like. There's even like such a good theme with the last film because Kenai lost his elder brother, and it was set up that he needed to grow up, and his relationship with Coda develops because Coda forces him to grow up, but he fills a void in Kenai, that Kenai has just like a hole in his life that has just been made. He lost his elder brother, and he's gaining this new one in Coda, but in a different way. Like it helps him, it's what he needs, but not the same exact thing. You know, I feel like if Kenai was drawn to like an older figure or an older figure that could represent Sitka, then that would be harder to help him move on from. But just because Koda is similar in a way in terms of a brother figure, but in a different way as he's a younger brother figure, it helps Kenai grow and move on from his experience. And I just love that. And like you don't have any of that in this film. You don't have any of that. No setup, no good writing,
No
no
nuance.
themes that are portrayed in a very eloquent way and simple way that kids can understand. Like it's just there's this film is just a whole lot of nothing. And it's
Yeah.
really sad. It's really sad. Like I feel like it could have just been so much like if like I don't know, like they could have done something really great here. They could have done something where Kenai had to like deal with the transition of being a bear, you know? Like why can't we explore that story? Like
Yeah.
it have to be they could have just done something like that was the complete opposite. Like they could have just like kept him in the village, but he just still has to deal with this transition of being a bear, and like he could still go with the same themes of wanting to be human, but instead of the love part being the main part, because like as we were watching, Brother Bear has such a good some theme of love in its film, but it's sibling love. And I can see a transition in the sequel being about romantic love, but don't make that like your main plot. Like the plot could be him wanting to be human or having that this wasn't the best decision for him to become a bear. And a part of that like mental thing, like why he's thinking that is because he does love someone that is a human. And that could have been like this the idea needs to be a workshop, but I feel like that there's something interesting here for a sequel to if they were just given more care and more attention. Like there is something. It's just so it's just this is a whole bunch of
Yeah.
nothing. That's it.
I agree.
It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, it is. I think like the first movie, it's so spiritual and it deals a lot with like I don't know death, but in the spiritual way, like where people go after they're they've died, but they don't really go there. They're always there and they're always like watching over, and I think that's a lot. That's something that you could work with like what you're saying. Like I know, I understand, and I agree that they had something maybe to do a better sequel, but this is the route they went with. And also like maybe if they wanted to do the romance stuff, maybe I guess like, but they could have done it better. Like Nira is not really a really interesting character. We don't really get to know her for her like almost at all. I mean, you get to like her, but who is Nira actually? We don't know.
Nita is a
And-
nothing character. Nita is just
Yeah.
Kenai's interest, and she's like kind of bossy, and she argues with him to have some sort of attention, and that's it. But she's nothing.
No, she's not, because like in the beginning, like, oh no, yeah, he's just my friend, but by the end, she's willing to give up her entire
And that
lifestyle
was like
and
a
the whole like
day.
everything for him, you know, for
Mhm.
someone that she just at the beginning just referred to like, yeah, he's a friend from childhood, like I haven't seen him in 1,000 fucking years. So and also I think something that had potential was the arranged marriage. I think if they had made Atka like a villain,
Hmm.
or like even more interesting, it would be like that he wasn't a villain, that he was someone that who Nita actually had a bond with, like maybe he was
Mhm.
a boyfriend of a very long time, like that they actually had a relationship, and he was someone that Nita cared about because it's an arranged marriage, and literally her dad says, "Oh, you're gonna really like Atka." Like they've never met, they have never
He
spoken a word to each other, and that's
literally
that
says,
right
"Are
there.
you ready to meet your husband?" He literally says that right
Yeah,
as he's gonna down the aisle.
yeah,
Are
yeah.
you ready to meet
And
Atka? Like,
right there, you just don't care about Atka, like because he has no attachment to anyone in this movie. So if he had an attachment to Nita, that scene where he fights Kenai would actually have some emotional weight because you would like Atka because he's someone that Nita cares about, but also Kenai is someone that she cares about, and we care about Kenai as well. So that fight would have so much more weight and more, it would be more dramatic, and it would just work better if Atka was actually a character that we knew something about other than he's the guy marrying Nita, and he had a personality and he had some kind of relevance in the story. But alas, he doesn't. So there's no reason for us to care about him, and there's no reason for us to have some any kind of conflict. Like, yeah, we're okay with Nina just getting with Kenai because at the end of the day, she didn't really care about the guy that she was gonna marry, and that's just not. If there's no conflict, then why is your movie? You know?
You basically said, like you two, you basically said everything that needs to be said about this movie, and you're totally right about it. And I just want to add that, I have no problem with romantic plots, of course, but when they are this lazy, it's just
Yeah.
like I cannot take it seriously at all, and I'm kind of enraged because I just see Nita and Kine, and I feel like they're going to break up in 2 weeks or something like that. She just like gave up her
Yes.
entire life to be a bear, and now uh, this is like the most shallow representation of romantic love that I've seen in a while. Maybe because I watch good things now, thankfully. But this is not like a good thing to like a good story to tell at all. First of all, because it's boring. Second, it doesn't have any stakes. Three, it doesn't sing. It says nothing. What like the first movie, it said a lot of things. It talked about love and grief and pain and loss, and this is just like I guess overcome your fear of the water and like ditch your husband that you've never met before. I don't know. It's just and when the movie is so bland and so nothing, everything that is annoying is going to be more annoying. For example, like
Yeah.
the trope of the moose trying to get with girls, and like that's the trope, like the sidekicks trying to get like a romantic interest or something.
Late.
Why? I mean, why? First of all, why are they here again?
No reason, just because.
Just because. And
What? Just wait 1 second. Did you know that the original plan for this movie was for Rod and Took to be the main characters without any appearance from Kenai or Coda?
don't say that.
This movie was gonna be just the moose.
Don't say that. You won Cars 2
That's
again.
why they're in
Okay.
it. I
so
know
long.
Tammy would have loved that.
Oh my god!
That is Cars
Like,
2.
oh, I have literally 3 different moments where I mentioned the same thing, and it's just in my notes. I mentioned 3 times. Why are the moose still here?
Yeah.
I hate those moose.
Yeah, I don't know. They're not even like that popular. It's not like they're Timon and Pumbaa, like Why you bringing them back in the first place? Okay, but I interrupted. And did you go?
No, that's basically it. Like I don't know why this movie enraged me so much because the
That's what I felt when I watched it for the first time.
right, but why?
The
I mean,
rage.
there are a lot of bad plots in this world. We've seen a lot of them in this endeavor that we're on this podcast. Why is this one the one that angers me so much? And I think it's that because if you're
I
going to
think
talk about romantic love, you need to do it well, and this doesn't do it well at all. This is like nothing. This is the
yeah. I think
shallowest ever.
maybe it's because this is perhaps the sequel that's the farthest away from the original themes. Like we've
Yeah.
critiqued in the past that okay, so they do the son or daughter thing that they make them the same mistakes as their parents, but of course, but well, they follow the same themes. And even Beauty and the Beast and its sequels, well, at least they were the same characters, and at least they tried to keep the same theme of loving someone from the inside and things like that. So I think maybe the reason that this movie is making us so mad, aside that it's just so bad, like badly written, badly executed, and everything, it's that it has nothing to do with the original Brother Bear. Like it's the same characters, but it's not about any of the same things. So that's why it feels so, you just feel so alienated by it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're totally right. Yeah, maybe because we loved the first movie so much because of its theme.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah,
Yeah, you're totally right. That's it. Because we loved it so much because of its core and it resonated so much with us. The fact that it let us down this way, it's just like enraging and depressing.
I
And
know
you
where you're
know where I'm
going with
going with
this.
this.
Oh no.
Okay, well, no, I won't talk about it. Just like maybe my final words on this movie is that Tammy, you ask how did adult people write this movie? I'm just going to say that adult people wrote The Rise of Skywalker. So
So yeah, I guess adult people can be stupid too. I had an idea about something that would make this movie more interesting. So it's maybe a little bit crazy, but hear me out. What if Nita's mom, she's dead, okay? What if Nita's mom somehow reincarnated into a bear and that bear was Coda's mom? And she finds out about that. They find out that about that. Well, that would hurt Kenai more. Maybe not. But what I was going for is that, well, that would actually give Nita more of a reason to want to become a bear
Mhm.
because of her
Mhm.
mother. And that would actually make Nita and Coda brother and sister. So that would be the sibling theme of the movie that's missing. And that would actually connect
Mhm.
her
That's
to them.
interesting.
Yeah, maybe that's weird because then if Coda and
That's
Kenai are
interesting.
brothers, then well, it wouldn't be incest, but anyway, I think that's just that's a rabbit hole that I just dug for myself. But I just came up with that, and I'm like, well, you could work with that. Maybe you could do something with that. Maybe not actually Coda's mom, but maybe in this world, people
Gina,
reincarnate in animals. We see Setka; he becomes an eagle. So why not her mom just she becomes a bear and she walks around as a bear, and that gives Nira a reason to want to become a bear to be closer to her mom.
please write that screenplay.
I, I could
I
try.
think that could be interesting. It'll be a whole lot better than what we got.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've always like when we get this movie, sometimes I get like the idea of like, what if we workshopped a script where we worked with the bits and pieces from the sequel that actually work, but make them better with our suggestions that we usually throw at when we're making the podcast, and that would be
Mhm.
actually very interesting. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to say there's a lot of good, but there's potential. There's potential because the original films are so good. There is potential for a good sequel because the previous film laid out the grounds for that. And it's just
Yeah.
a shame that these sequels are so bad. Cast
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah. So apparently, on the DVD of this movie, they included some deleted scenes that included complete childhood scene, including Atka. So that would be interesting. Like, give me Atka content because that would actually make me care about that. And apparently, a nightmare. Kenai has a nightmare about Sitka, but I think like well that got cut because where do you put it? And it has nothing to do with the movie. And an alternate ending where Kenai decides to become a human permanently again. And also,
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't know if that ending would be any better, to be honest, because of the way that his decision of becoming a bear in the original one
Mhm.
has. Then, if you do that, then you're just completely scrapping away the original
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
the ending of the original. So I think that would maybe hurt the original movie more because like what was the reasoning? Why would he leave Coda alone for Nina?
Mhm.
That seems just an awful thing to do to him after he killed his mother.
The only thing is if he grew up, if Coda, because like I don't know, bears, animals
Maybe.
like take, or like there's less time in between like what you need. So that's the only thing. Like, if that's the only thing I can think if Coda doesn't need Kenai anymore to protect him or to be the adult figure in it. That's the only
Yeah,
way I could see
maybe.
that working.
Yeah, me too. Definitely. I think for Kenai to actually turn back into a human again and for it to feel um, satisfactory, I guess. Yeah, definitely Coda would not be needing him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also, IMDb has a trivia thing that says that Nita actually means bear in Choctaw. I don't know what that language is, but I suppose it's an Native American language.
Hmm.
So, so her name literally is bear, just like Simba literally means lion. So nice foreshadowing there, guys.
Interesting, actually.
Yeah. So, do you guys have anything else at all to say about this movie? Some like rounding up your thoughts on it?
Let me
It's bad.
see. I'm just looking over my notes, just seeing if there's anything else. I've literally talked about these moose in my notes like 5 times. Like like the first we've seen these moose 4 different times. These moose have appeared 5 times. It's because these are so low stakes and they spend way too much time with those moose.
Yeah.
I
Like,
think half of the movie is just the
and
moose.
yeah, it is. Like,
and we
guys,
have a freaking whole ass
yeah.
falling in love. That's it. I just can't. Sorry. Go ahead.
If you've never seen this movie, you people hearing to this podcast, you won't understand like the struggle of be watching this movie and feel like it's actually like moving along and then cut back to the moose
Ah!
trying to get the girlfriends. And it's awful. It's also really awful because they get them, but they get them by lying. Basically, it's what I was saying earlier. Because Coda is like, okay, I'm gonna help you get this girl, so I'm gonna go and you pretend to be very nice to me. And of course, because the stereotype is that women are very attracted to males who are nice to children. So when they see the moose Ruth and Took being nice to Coda and being very good to Coda, they're like immediately attracted to them. And you realize that this movie was written by men first because of that, and second because at one point the moose referred to the girls as no referred to Coda as a babe magnet, and
It
then
was written no, well, it was written by boomers who don't know nothing about women, and
yeah.
they try to connect with the youth.
But
It's
you know what the worst part is? By the end, like both of the girls are surrounding. I think it's Rut. Is it Rut,
the
the
yeah
yellow
the
one?
mhm.
And he's like, "You have very nice hoofs. I'm a hoof man." Like
No,
implying
no,
that he likes hoofs,
no.
like the way that a guy can be like a butt guy, or like a boobs guy, or like a fit guy.
No,
Eh, just awful. Because also, why would he say he's a hoof man? He's not a man. He's a moose.
All
Like,
right.
I'm a who?
get your shit together, movie. If you're gonna go for that joke, at least
I like how
let's say
okay.
I'm a hoof kind of moose. Not a man. He's not a man. You're just lazy.
Gina, you're just like tangled in like specifics. He has a foot
I know.
fetish. That's
Yes,
Yes,
basically.
the food fetish.
no. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
out. I'm out.
I,
I want to
yeah,
stop talking about this movie now.
I think that signals the end. I,
that's just that's just how awful this movie is in a nutshell. So if you've never seen it, just go home knowing that the moose from Brother Bear have a feet fetish and that they lie to get laid. They pretend to be people they are not to get the girls they want. Also, the moose are in the climax, like in the climax battle where Kenai is fighting Atka, and they absolutely do nothing, but also they bring the girls along. So why, like, yeah, let's go find Kenai, and they absolutely have no idea who Kenai is, and they just go along with it. Like this is seriously how men think females react to being attracted to a guy. And first of all, because at the beginning of the movie, we get told that these moves have been trying to hit on these specific move sets for a long time, and they have repeatedly told them no, but they are persistent, and eventually they get them. So that's enough message.
That is such a fucked up message.
Yeah,
oh,
that don't know words. Like
the
give up your
movesets literally say, yeah, sorry.
sorry, doesn't know what's worse. To give up your whole life to become a bear for a guy who you only met when you were a kid and you haven't seen in about 15 years, and just give up all that to become a bear for him, or keep trying, guys, and eventually the girl you like will like you back if you lie hard enough.
That's so bad. Like the movesets literally say, if we ignore them, maybe they'll stop. Like,
Yeah,
ugh,
it's bad.
and it's played as a joke.
It is. And they get rewarded with them at the end. It's awful. It's bad. It's
Because
horrible.
because women are not people. They're just trophies. That like we know that.
Yeah, and if you work hard enough, you will eventually crack them and they will be, well, just completely attracted to you. And that's it. Ah, what a good lesson we learned from Brother Bear too. Isn't this just better than the lessons we learned from Brother Bear about love and brotherhood?
And
Yeah.
grief and moving on from death. Like it's
Yeah.
just, oh my
And
god.
connecting with the spiritual world. Yeah, no. Yeah. So that's Brother Bear 2. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say about it, but if you don't, those are basically our thoughts on it. It's bad,
Mhm.
guys. It's bad. So if you haven't watched it, don't. If you have watched it and maybe you like it, because honestly, I'm not anyone to tell you that you shouldn't like a sequel, because I really do like some sequels that I know are trash, or that I know that are not good as I think they are. It's just nostalgia. So I completely understand if someone is nostalgic towards this movie. I'm sure you're out there. I'm sorry if you actually like this movie. Please write to us and tell us why, because I don't understand. But thank you for listening to us bickering about this movie. So let's move on to, do you guys think this is an upgrade or a downgrade from the original movie? Tammy?
Downgrade.
The
Yeah, I think this is
Like,
perhaps one of the biggest downgrades in theme, like in the theming of the movies. Big downgrade right there. So, did you guys have gradings for this movie?
this movie deserves to be born next to the waterfall because I don't want to have any connection with it again.
That's good. Tammy, do you have yours?
I'm still thinking. I don't
Yeah, me
know.
too.
I can't even think. I don't even know. Like it's nothing. Like there's nothing. I have no rating because it's a nothing movie. That's not.
Oh
I
my
can't
God.
even think about a rating.
Oh God. Okay, so there is no great spirit to this movie.
No.
It's just that it's a soulless movie, so it doesn't
Yeah.
have a great spirit. Get it?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. You're completely right. Completely.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I thought about that very hard. Okay, so you guys, I think that marks an end to our thoughts on Brother Bear 2. I had fun. I got very mad right there about the moose, but I think we all did, and it's just very cathartic to talk about it with people who understand. So I'm really, really ready to never watch this movie again. This time for good. So yeah, thank you guys, I guess, for being here. Do you have anything else to add to this episode before we sign off?
Um, do you think the anger in this podcast episode is residual hate from The Rise of Skywalker?
I think yeah. I mean, I
I'm
cannot
just
say no.
I'm just like really, really unforgiving now. Like I will shit on every movie from
Yeah,
now
yeah.
on.
No, like 2020 is the year that we are done with men deciding our narratives. Men will not turn us into bears anymore. And
Guys,
that's the spirit I'm going into 2020.
do
I like
not
it.
turn into bears for any man, girls or guys,
They are
or
not worth
whatever
it.
you are.
Yeah.
They're not worth it. They're never worth it. Oh my god. Yeah, but maybe you have a point. Like I'm just like mad at everything in life right now. So
Yeah, we're like after Rise of Skywalker, I just feel like I've become more cynical in the media that I consume, and
Mm.
so if you are even remotely like awful to women, then I'm just gonna cancel you, and this movie does. And of course, I'm also gonna cancel you if you have a narrative that's shitty and awful. So yeah, that too. So this movie did both of those things that I think relate a lot to what I felt about The Rise of Skywalker. So maybe that's yeah, you have a point there.
ah, but you know what? This had better writing than Rise of Skywalker. So
It did. Surprisingly.
okay, so people that like this movie will stop listening to this podcast now. Well,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
No, if you like it, I'm happy for you. Honestly, I wish I did.
Mhm.
I wish that were me.
Yeah, I wish that were me. But I think it's over for Brother Number 2 right now.
Also, this movie did really dirty to Coda. Like I know we're already finished, but I just wanted to say that my boy Coda did not deserve to be treated like this. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. We will see you very soon with we don't know what movie we're gonna talk about next, so it's a surprise for you and me. And that's it. Thank you. Remember that you can get in contact with us at twodivisionpodcast@gmail.com and on Twitter at twodivisionpod. And so send us your message, your questions, your suggestions, and anything else that you want to send our way. And thank you for listening, and we will see you very soon. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.